Tonight, we drift into a different kind of silence. A silence filled with static and stars, with forgotten dreams and electric whispers. Nikola Tesla was not just an inventor, he was a listener to the rhythms of the earth, to the pulse of the universe, and maybe to something beyond. Born during a lightning storm, he seemed marked from the beginning, drawn to energy, not just as power, but as presence. His thoughts came in flashes, his inventions appeared, fully formed, in the space behind his eyes. He didn't imagine them, he received them. And what he gave us, what he tried to give us, was nothing short of a new world. Free energy, wireless transmission, machines that resonated with nature, visions of healing, levitation, and interplanetary communication. Many of his ideas were buried, some were dismissed, others perhaps taken. But tonight, you don't need to solve any of it. Just listen. As the noise of the world fades, we'll follow Tesla's trail, through lightning, through silence, through the edges of what might have been. And maybe, somewhere between waking and dreaming, you'll feel what he felt. That faint vibration in the dark, the hum of a secret, just waiting to be remembered.
The War of Currents. It begins with a spark, a quiet flicker of thought in the mind of a man who would one day reshape how the world is powered. Nikola Tesla arrived in the United States in 1884 with 4 cents in his pocket, a book of poetry, and a head full of visions. His goal: to bring light not just to homes and cities, but to the very way we understand energy. But in order to do that, he would have to go to war. A war not with weapons, but with ideas. A war of currents. At the time, Thomas Edison was the undisputed king of electricity in America. He championed direct current, or DC, a steady one-directional flow of electricity. It was simple, it worked, and it was already being installed in cities. But DC had a problem. It couldn't travel far. The voltage dropped quickly, which meant every city block needed its own generator. It was inefficient, expensive, and limited. Tesla, on the other hand, had something else in mind: alternating current, or AC. This new system didn't flow in one direction. Instead, it oscillated, switching back and forth many times per second. And that tiny change, that shift in rhythm, it meant power could now travel for miles and miles through wires without losing strength. It was a revolution in waiting. Tesla took his idea to Edison, hoping to collaborate, but Edison refused. He didn't trust AC, said it was dangerous, uncontrollable. He even offered Tesla $50,000 to improve his DC generators, and later denied he ever promised it. Betrayed and broke, Tesla quit. He took jobs digging ditches to survive. Still, the vision in his mind never dimmed. Then, a new player entered the scene: George Westinghouse, an industrialist who saw the potential in Tesla's AC system. Westinghouse bought the patents, hired Tesla, and together they began building an electrical empire based on alternating current. This was the beginning of the War of Currents. Edison, threatened by this new competition, launched a public smear campaign. He claimed AC was deadly, dangerous, even evil. To prove it, he began electrocuting animals in public: dogs, horses, even an elephant, all to show the horrors of alternating current. He even secretly helped develop the first electric chair, powered by AC. All of it was designed to terrify the public. But Tesla remained focused. He didn't engage in spectacle. He believed in the science. He believed that AC was not only better, but essential for the future of humanity. In 1893, the tide began to turn. The organizers of the Chicago World's Fair were searching for someone to illuminate the massive event. Westinghouse won the contract, and Tesla's AC system would power the entire fair. When a switch was flipped, hundreds of thousands of light bulbs came to life, flooding the night with electric light. It was a miracle, a modern sunrise. Millions of people walked through those glowing grounds, and for many, it was the first time they had ever seen electric light. Tesla's system had triumphed, not through fear, but through brilliance. But he wasn't finished. Later that year, Tesla and Westinghouse were awarded another monumental contract to build the world's first major hydroelectric power plant at Niagara Falls. Water, endless and thundering, would be harnessed to spin turbines. Those turbines would generate electricity. That electricity, riding the invisible waves of alternating current, would travel miles away to power the city of Buffalo. When the system launched in 1896, the success was undeniable. AC had won, and Tesla's vision had become reality. But even in victory, Tesla felt no need to celebrate. He had already begun dreaming of something even more ambitious. To him, this was just a first step, a proof of concept. He didn't want wires. He didn't want stations or towers or infrastructure. He wanted power to be free. Free from the ground, free from limits, free for everyone. Even then, Tesla was dreaming of a world where electricity filled the air like sunlight, where energy was transmitted wirelessly across oceans and deserts, without combustion, without pollution, without profit. He saw the earth not as a rock, but as a conductor, not as a home, but as a circuit. His mind was already racing ahead toward frequency, resonance, and invisible vibrations. But that part of the story comes later. For now, imagine Tesla standing at Niagara Falls. The roar of water pounding in the background, the hum of turbines, the glow of lights stretching out into the dark. He didn't just illuminate the night. He rewired the future, and he did it with a force you can't see, only feel. The mind of an inventor. Let your breath slow as we drift deeper into the mind of a man unlike any other. Nikola Tesla didn't invent like others did. He didn't tinker or trial and error. He saw his inventions clearly, visually, fully formed in the air around him, before a single piece of metal was ever touched. Tesla described it as a kind of vision. When he received an idea, it came not in fragments, but as a living, complete mechanism. In his own words, "When I get an idea, I start at once building it up in my imagination, and I change the construction, make improvements, and operate the device entirely in my mind." He claimed he could test these devices mentally, run them for weeks, observe wear and tear, and redesign them, all without lifting a finger. To most, this sounds impossible. But Tesla was not like most. His was a mind tuned to a different frequency, not just brilliant,
but receptive. It's as if he were listening to something the rest of us could not hear. Even in childhood, his imagination ran ahead of the world. He suffered from strange flashes of light, intense bursts in his vision that would be followed by the sudden appearance of a detailed image, an object, or a machine. He thought he might be cursed, but in time, he realized he was simply tuned in. His memory was photographic. He could recall entire pages of books, diagrams, blueprints. If he saw something once, it was his forever. And it wasn't just memory, it was insight. Tesla could feel the patterns behind the physical world. He once said, "My brain is only a receiver. In the universe, there is a core from which we obtain knowledge, strength, and inspiration. I have not penetrated into the secrets of this core, but I know that it exists." What was he receiving? Was it inspiration? Or was it something more? Now imagine the 1890s, a world still lit by gas lamps, horses pulling carts through dirt streets. And there is Tesla, in a laboratory glowing with unnatural light, calling lightning from coils of copper. Sparks danced like spirits across the room. His experiments weren't just science. They were performance. They were alchemy.
The Tesla coil, one of his most famous creations, generated high-frequency, high-voltage electricity. The arcs it produced were not only visually stunning, they revealed a new frontier of electrical potential. He believed energy didn't have to be trapped in wires, that it could move wirelessly through the air, like sound or thought. Years before others even dreamed of it, Tesla was building remote control systems. He demonstrated a radio-controlled boat in 1898 at Madison Square Garden, shocking onlookers who thought he must be using magic or telepathy. Some believed there was a tiny monkey inside the boat. Others thought he was insane, but Tesla smiled. He was already moving on to the next dream. He pioneered work in X-rays before the word even existed. He theorized about cosmic rays, pulsars, and particles long before they were formally discovered. And while Guglielmo Marconi is credited with inventing the radio, Tesla's patents showed he got there first. In fact, the US Supreme Court would later agree, but by then, Tesla had already faded from the spotlight. He never cared much for fame or fortune. He cared only about the signal, the pulse, the great rhythm beneath the surface of things. Tesla often spoke of energy in spiritual terms. To him, resonance was not just physics, it was harmony. Every object, every person, every thought had a natural frequency. He once said, "If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration." He believed that by understanding these subtle frequencies, we could heal the body, transmit information instantly, or even influence reality itself. There's a story, whether myth or truth, that Tesla once attached a small mechanical oscillator to the steel beam of a Manhattan building. The device was barely larger than a hand, but it vibrated at a precise frequency, matching the resonant frequency of the structure. Within minutes, windows shattered, the building shook, panic erupted. Tesla quietly dismantled the device and slipped it into his pocket before police arrived. Later, he claimed, "With the right resonance, I could split the earth in two." Was it bravado or a quiet warning?
He also claimed to be able to transmit electricity, not just across a room, but across the world. And he believed it could be done safely, without wires, without pollution, and without cost. Tesla's inventions weren't just machines, they were messages, visions from a cleaner, more elegant world, one we still haven't reached.
And then there was the teleforce, sometimes called his death ray, a beam of focused energy that Tesla claimed could destroy entire armies without a single explosion. He said it could bring down aircraft from 200 miles away. He offered it to governments, but no one believed him. Or perhaps they believed him too much. The weapon was never built, at least not publicly, but fragments of his notes suggest he took the idea seriously. So many of Tesla's theories sound unbelievable, even today. But time has a habit of catching up to him, again and again. Was he a genius out of step with his century? Or was he something more? A kind of antenna, reaching into places we still cannot see. As you breathe gently now, picture Tesla at work, alone in the quiet of his lab, surrounded by soft violet sparks, his eyes distant, already seeing the next machine, before the rest of the world even knows to dream of it. His was a mind shaped by silence, by vision, and by frequencies we still don't understand. And as you drift further into rest, let those frequencies hum gently in your thoughts, for this was Tesla, the inventor who remembered the future. Drift deeper now. Let the night wrap around you, and imagine a tower rising like a steel skeleton from the earth, a beacon for something more than light, a signal from a man who dreamed not in pieces, but in totality. This was Wardenclyffe. At the dawn of the 20th century, Nikola Tesla stood on the edge of what he believed would be his greatest achievement. Not a light bulb, not a motor, not even a coil, but a revolution. Wardenclyffe was not just a building, it was a statement. A 187-foot tower on the north shore of Long Island, built on land where the soil itself hummed with potential. Tesla's vision was simple in idea, yet cosmic in scale. He wanted to send wireless power through the air, around the globe, without wires, without fuel, without restriction. Imagine a world where you never had to plug anything in, where ships crossed the ocean powered by waves of ambient energy, where homes were lit and machines ran, not by coal or steam, but by invisible currents beamed through the earth itself. This was the promise of Wardenclyffe, and Tesla believed it was within reach. The tower was only part of the system. Below it, deep underground, were tunnels and copper rods designed to interface with the Earth's natural electric charge. Tesla believed the planet was a giant conductor, and that by tapping into its resonant frequency, energy could be transmitted wirelessly to any point on the globe. He wasn't guessing. He had done the math. He had seen it in his mind, and he had already proven wireless transmission on a smaller scale. Lighting bulbs from across a room, controlling devices without wires,
This was merely the next step. But dreams as large as Tesla's require money, and money comes with questions. Tesla found a powerful backer, J.P. Morgan, one of the wealthiest men in the world. Morgan agreed to fund the tower, believing it would provide a new kind of transatlantic communication. But Tesla's ambitions went further. He didn't just want to send messages. He wanted to send power, freely, openly, and unmetered. This was a problem. When Morgan learned the full extent of Tesla's plan, he reportedly asked a single fateful question. If anyone can draw on the power, where do we put the meter? There was no answer. Because Tesla had no intention of charging the world for energy, he believed it belonged to everyone, a birthright, like sunlight or air. Funding was withdrawn. Supplies stopped arriving. Construction slowed to a crawl, then halted altogether. Wardenclyffe, the tower that could have changed the world, was left unfinished. Tesla tried desperately to revive the project. He wrote letters, begged investors, even risked humiliation. But the tide was turning. The age of industry favored profit, not ideals. Eventually, the tower was dismantled. Its metals sold for scrap during wartime. Its bones buried beneath decades of dust and forgotten dreams. But was that really the end? Some believe Wardenclyffe was sabotaged, not just by disinterest, but by design. To offer free energy to the masses would have threatened entire empires of oil, coal, and electricity. It would have broken the business model of an entire century. It would have shifted power from the hands of the few to the many. So the project was allowed to die, quietly, without scandal, without a single headline. Others whisper that the technology was too advanced, too misunderstood, and that governments feared what it might become. After all, if Tesla could power cities wirelessly, what else could that energy do? Could it be weaponized? Could it interfere with other fields? Could it reveal truths best left hidden? Tesla never got to answer those questions, but his notes suggest he believed Wardenclyffe was only the beginning. He envisioned a planetary energy system, an interconnected grid that vibrated in harmony with Earth's natural frequencies. A world lit by resonance. He even hinted at the possibility of tuning into the thoughts and feelings of others across the globe, as if consciousness itself were a frequency. Is it science fiction or science delayed? Wardenclyffe still stands in part today, its foundation a quiet relic, surrounded by trees and time. It hums with silence now, but it once pulsed with the future. Some engineers and researchers have attempted to recreate Tesla's work. They study his patents, his diagrams, his cryptic notes, but something always seems missing. Some say he took the real secret to the grave. Others believe it's all still there, hidden in plain sight, waiting for a mind bold enough to see it. What if he had succeeded? What if Wardenclyffe had reached full power? Would the Earth itself have become a conductor? Would the sky have glowed with wireless energy? Would war have become obsolete, fossil fuels forgotten, and scarcity a word lost to history? We don't know. We can only wonder. Tesla believed we were on the verge of a golden age, not of machines, but of understanding, of syncing with the very fabric of nature. A tuning fork for the soul of the Earth. And though the tower is gone, the dream remains, soft and flickering, like distant lightning on the horizon of possibility. The secrets left behind. The year was 1943. In a quiet hotel room in New York City, Nikola Tesla lay alone. The hum of the city outside barely reached his ears. His life, once filled with light and electricity, had grown dim. He had once been hailed as a prophet of science. Now, he was seen as eccentric, a forgotten genius. But what was forgotten was not lost. When Tesla died, he left behind more than memories. He left behind a lifetime of secrets, notebooks, diagrams, blueprints, and whispers of discoveries that defied belief. Within hours of his death, officials from the US government entered his room. Agents from the Office of Alien Property seized his belongings. They took trunks filled with papers, sketches, and untested designs. Why? What was so urgent, so important, that his work had to vanish overnight? Some say it was routine. Others are not so sure. Among the items reportedly taken was a document Tesla called the Dynamic Theory of Gravity. He claimed it could unify the forces of nature, explaining gravity not as a pull from mass, but as a result of frequency and vibration. He believed gravity was not a force, but a wave. If true, this theory could have revolutionized physics. Einstein's equations might have taken a new turn. Space travel, anti-gravity, even teleportation, all could have looked different. But the papers disappeared. Some believe they were classified, others think they were destroyed. A few insist they were studied quietly, in the shadows of secret labs. It's easy to dismiss such claims, but it wasn't just theorists who showed interest. The man tasked with reviewing Tesla's papers was Dr. John G. Trump, an electrical engineer and uncle to a future president. Dr. Trump concluded that the papers had no significant value, but others who caught glimpses said differently. They spoke of weapon designs, energy systems, and concepts years ahead of their time. What did Tesla really leave behind? One idea has haunted imaginations ever since. He called it the death ray. Tesla didn't like the term. He preferred teleforce. It was, according to him, a directed energy weapon, one that could project particles across great distances. So focused and powerful, he claimed, it could bring down aircraft from hundreds of miles away. Not explosive, not chemical, pure energy. He claimed it could end war, not by destruction, but by deterrence. If every nation had this power, none would dare attack. He offered the technology to multiple governments, but no country accepted. In the years following Tesla's death, the US and Soviet Union both began researching high-energy weapons, beam technologies, and frequency-based fields. Coincidence? Or continuation? And then there are the more mysterious ideas. Tesla believed everything in the universe was connected by frequency. He spoke often of tuning in, not just to energy, but to information. He believed it was possible to receive signals, not just from distant places, but perhaps from other dimensions. In Colorado Springs, he reported detecting rhythmic, non-natural signals. He believed they were messages, possibly from intelligent life. Mars was his first thought. He never claimed certainty, only that the signals were too precise to be random. Modern scientists have debated this claim for decades, but even now, radio astronomers detect repeating signals, fast radio bursts with unknown origins. Maybe Tesla was simply ahead of the curve. One of his final and most elusive pursuits was something he hinted at but never fully revealed. He called it a machine to transmit thoughts. He believed the mind was not confined to the body, that thought itself traveled as a wave, that with the right receiver, one consciousness could reach another, across distance, across time. Science fiction? Perhaps. But consider this. Modern studies in neuroscience have begun exploring brain-to-brain interfaces, devices that allow two people to share intent or even basic ideas without speaking. Tesla described it a century ago. He imagined a world where ideas moved faster than speech, where dreams became data, where emotion traveled on the same paths as light. His notes on these subjects were vague, frustratingly poetic. He spoke of seeing the machinery of the mind, of standing outside the self. Did he uncover something profound? Or was it the musings of a tired genius? We may never know, but perhaps the point is not whether the ideas were finished. Perhaps the value lies in the attempt. Tesla reached where others feared to look. He saw the future not as a machine, but as a frequency, a song waiting to be tuned. The secrets he left behind may still echo, not in locked vaults, but in the minds of those willing to listen. A theory, a sketch, a forgotten page in an old notebook could one day light the way forward. Or maybe it already has. We just haven't noticed. So now, as your thoughts begin to drift again, imagine those lost trunks, gathering dust in a quiet archive, or perhaps already humming softly, powering something unseen. Tesla is gone, but his secrets remain, hidden or waiting, like whispers in the dark.
Tesla and the unknown. The world we know is built on what we can measure: mass, light, motion, things we can touch, test, and observe. But Nikola Tesla, he walked between worlds, one foot in science, the other in something more mysterious. Not superstition, not fantasy, but the unknown, the edge of reason. He didn't just invent, he listened. And sometimes what he heard defied explanation. In 1899, Tesla moved to Colorado Springs, Colorado. He needed space and silence. The mountains, the dry air, the high altitude. It was perfect for his experiments with high-frequency electricity. He built a massive coil, the most powerful Tesla coil ever created. When it fired, the ground would shake. Electric arcs leapt across the night sky, dancing like spectral lightning. Residents said they could hear a hum in their fillings. Horses spooked. Lights flickered for miles. And then one night, he heard something else. While testing his equipment, Tesla claimed he intercepted a rhythmic signal. Not noise, not static, a pattern, a pulse. He described it later in his writings. He said the signal repeated like a code. 3 pulses, a pause, Then again, he believed it came from space, from intelligent life. At first, he thought it might be Mars. In those days, Mars was seen as a likely home for alien life. Astronomers thought they saw canals, structures, intentional designs. Tesla never claimed proof. He was careful with his words, but he was certain the signal was real, and it was not random. Skeptics said it was an error, reflected waves, atmospheric interference, but Tesla wasn't convinced. He said the Earth itself was a conductor, a receiver, and something had spoken through it. He would never find the source, but the idea never left him. Years later, in New York, Tesla wrote of being in touch with the unknown. He felt he was receiving more than information. He was tuning into something larger. He believed the universe was filled with signals, streams of frequency waiting to be received. Not just voices from space, but messages from nature itself, patterns in the noise. He called this the music of the spheres. Everything had a tone, a vibration. He said, "My brain is only a receiver. In the universe, there is a core from which we obtain knowledge, strength, and inspiration." To some, this sounded spiritual. To Tesla, it was physics. He believed that thought, consciousness, even intuition, could be described in terms of frequency. And if you tuned just right, you could hear what others could not. He spoke of building a device that could translate this information, a receiver for thought, a machine that could pick up human emotion, intent, and memory. He never finished it, or perhaps he never started. But the idea still lingers, like a faint hum. Even stranger are the whispers about Tesla and time. Late in his life, Tesla began to speak more cryptically. He mentioned standing outside time and seeing events unfold before they occurred. No one knew what he meant. Some say it was metaphor, a way to describe intuition. Others aren't so sure. A fringe theory claims that during one of his high-voltage experiments, Tesla created a field so intense it bent space itself. That, for a brief moment, he saw past the curtain of time. One rumor, never confirmed, suggests Tesla wrote of this in a private journal. He described a strange sensation, being outside his own body, watching himself from the future. The language is vague, difficult to verify, but it sparked later conspiracy theories, most famously, the Philadelphia experiment. That legend claims the US Navy tried to make a ship invisible and accidentally teleported it. Some versions of the story tie Tesla to the project. They claim he laid the groundwork, but backed out, fearing the consequences. Historians dismiss it. The Navy denies it ever happened. But the tale continues to circulate, always whispering Tesla's name. More grounded researchers point to Tesla's notes on resonance. He believed that by matching the natural frequency of any object, you could influence it. He even said, if you could understand the frequency of the human mind, you could affect it directly. Again, science fiction or foreshadowing? Today, researchers study brainwaves, neural entrainment, and the effects of electromagnetic fields on thought and mood. They found there is a connection.
Tesla may not have known the details, but he felt the pattern, always the pattern. And in the quiet hours, Tesla would speak of dreams. He said his best ideas didn't come when he was thinking. They came when he was still, when his mind was soft, open. He described entering a place of silence and emerging with full designs, complete and perfect. He claimed he didn't invent, he received, like a radio catching a song already playing. Who was the transmitter? He never said. Perhaps it was the universe itself. Perhaps it was something else. Tesla never feared the unknown. He walked toward it, touched it, tried to bring back what he could. Much of it remains unexplained, but maybe that's the point. Not everything needs to be proven to be powerful. Some truths arrive as questions, soft and strange, like dreams before waking. So now, as your breath slows and your thoughts drift outward, imagine the signals Tesla once heard, quiet pulses in the night. Maybe they were just noise. Maybe they were stars speaking in a language we've yet to learn. Or maybe they're still transmitting, and someday, when the world is quiet enough, we'll hear them too. The world that could have been. Close your eyes now and imagine the lights around you, not powered by wires, not drawn from coal or oil, but pulled from the very air. A hum beneath your feet, a gentle current in the walls, energy everywhere. This was Tesla's vision, a world of free, wireless power, clean, invisible, and shared by all. He didn't just dream it, he designed it. The Wardenclyffe Tower on Long Island was only the beginning. Tesla believed the Earth itself was a conductor, a living circuit. He wanted to tap into it, to use the natural frequency of the planet to transmit energy, just as radio waves carry sound. But the idea wasn't just about electricity, it was about liberation. A world without cables, without pollution, without borders on power. He believed energy should be a birthright, like sunlight, like air. Now imagine, what if he had succeeded? What would that world look like? Maybe we would have stepped away from fossil fuels a century ago. Maybe the skies would be cleaner, the oceans clearer, the earth cooler. Wars fought over oil and gas might never have happened. Nations could no longer be held hostage over energy. The balance of power would shift to the people. Every home, every village, every wandering traveler could access power from the ether. No sockets, no wires, just resonance. And maybe, just maybe, technology would have taken a different path. Instead of relying on combustion and chemical reactions, we might have pursued frequency, magnetism, and the subtle forces Tesla spoke of. Our machines might not hum and roar, but sing, soft, harmonic tones in tune with the natural world. Perhaps cities would glow gently at night, not harsh and buzzing, but pulsing, like bioluminescent life. Our vehicles might float or glide, powered not by engines, but by ambient energy fields. Some say Tesla had designs for such machines, flying craft that used rotating electric fields to negate gravity. They were never built, or if they were, we were never told. But the blueprints whisper of possibilities, not propulsion, but levitation, not fuel, but frequency.
And what about medicine? Tesla believed the human body had its own frequencies, that health was a matter of harmony. He imagined using vibration to restore balance, to dissolve illness, to tune the body like an instrument. Today, modern medicine is revisiting these ideas, exploring the effects of sound, magnetism, and electrical pulses on healing. Was he ahead again? Or did we simply ignore the signs for too long? In this alternate world, Tesla's world, perhaps illness is caught early, corrected with waves, not pills. Perhaps aging slows, not because of genetic tinkering, but because the body remembers its proper song. Perhaps even the mind, the deepest part of us, could be tuned, cleared of noise, made calm, focused. In this world, education might not rely solely on words, but on resonance. Information transferred not just by speaking, but by frequency alignment. A dream? Maybe, but Tesla dared to believe it. He also believed in a world without loss. You see, in our world, so much energy is wasted. Heat, friction, resistance. Tesla wanted systems that were elegant, efficient, complete, circular. Nature wastes nothing. Why should we? In his world, buildings would be designed to capture the energy of the sun, the wind, the Earth's magnetic field. Machines would run in harmony, not opposition. They would cooperate with the forces around them. It's a quiet revolution, not one of noise and steel, but of balance. And what about thought? Tesla believed the mind was not just a chemical machine, but a receiver. That thoughts might come from beyond us. That consciousness itself could be part of a larger field. In this alternate world, perhaps science and spirit are not enemies. Perhaps they meet at the edges, where frequency becomes feeling and data becomes insight. We might learn to communicate not just with each other, but with nature itself, with the planet, with the stars, and with whatever else might be listening. Tesla often said, "The present is theirs. The future for which I really worked is mine." Perhaps he didn't mean our future. Perhaps he meant one still waiting to arrive, a parallel track, a forgotten path, one where knowledge wasn't buried for profit, where progress wasn't sold to the highest bidder, where dreams were not dismissed as madness. And in that world, perhaps Tesla didn't die in a small New York hotel room, alone and penniless. Perhaps he was honored, supported, understood.
Perhaps the Wardenclyffe Tower stood tall and sang into the sky, powering a planet that finally listened. We cannot go back, but we can still ask, what did we lose by not following that path? And is it too late to find it again? Maybe the tower is still there, not in wood and copper, but in idea, waiting, humming softly beneath the static of modern life. A signal long ignored, still broadcasting, waiting for someone to tune in. Conclusion. And now, as your body softens and your breath deepens, let your mind settle into the current beneath it all. You've traveled far tonight, through Tesla's battles, his brilliance, his mysteries, through towers that never sang, through energy fields unseen, through the quiet possibility of a world that could have been. Some say he failed, that he was a man out of time. But maybe he was exactly on time. It's the rest of us who haven't caught up yet. His inventions live on, not just in machines, but in the minds of those still brave enough to wonder. His theories echo, not just in science, but in music, in frequency, in silence. So as you drift now, let Tesla's dream gently wrap around you. A dream of power without violence, of light without heat, of knowledge without fear. Close your eyes and hear the whisper. Everything is vibration. Everything is connected. And somewhere, just beyond the static, he's still working.